Hey, I'm doing this video about prophecy from the Old Testament. I just watched the YouTube video, The Gospel of John. It's a movie and it's 3 hours long. I didn't realize it's a pretty long movie, but I highly recommend that you watch it. It's pretty good. I was dreading the part when it would get to the crucifixion of Jesus, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Anyways, I googled prophecies that Jesus fulfilled, and this article on about.com, Christianity.about.com, is really good and it lays it all out. 44 prophecies of the Messiah fulfilled in Jesus Christ. So it starts out, the books of the Old Testament contain many passages about the Messiah, all prophecies Jesus Christ fulfilled. For instance, the crucifixion of Jesus was foretold in Psalms 22:16-18. And I'll read that. Psalms 22, the whole psalm really is about Jesus' death, prophesying it. And then it says approximately 1,000 years before Christ was born, long before this method of execution was even practiced. Interesting. One thing I thought was interesting from the video was when the priests bring Jesus to Pilate, he says, "Why don't you accuse him with your own law?" And they say, "Well, we don't have the power to put anyone to death." And I really like the part where Pilate felt bad, and when they said this man claims that he's the Son of God, Pilate got scared. Yes, he should have been. In other gospels it says that his wife warned him that she saw in a dream to have nothing to do with that man, and then in another gospel it says like he washed his hands of that act, but it didn't show any of that in the video because I guess it's not in John. So let's see. This article goes on to say some Bible scholars suggest there are more than 300 prophetic scriptures completed in the life of Jesus. Yeah, I had heard a lot more than 44, but I've never actually looked into all of them, so I thought I would, and I might as well record my research on this video for anyone interested. Although this list is not exhaustive, you'll find 44 messianic predictions clearly fulfilled in Jesus Christ, along with supporting references from the Old and New Testament. Very nice. Though someone did most of the work for me. Thank you, article. Alright, so here's Psalm 22, which, yeah, I had circled and wrote Jesus next to it, because this is all about Jesus. It starts off, my God, why have you forsaken me?" That's not in the Gospel of John. It's recorded in other ones, though. Every gospel records different things because they were told by 4 different guys, dictated by God, but they all say things differently. So it doesn't mean they contradict each other. It just, they say different things. Okay. So, my God, why have you forsaken me? Jesus says that on the cross. Why are you so far from saving me, so far from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer by night, and am not silent. Okay, so that part isn't necessarily about Jesus. But then verse 6, but I am a worm and not a man, scorned by men and despised by the people. So, scorned by men, despised by people. Jesus was heavily despised by the Pharisees, and I think the main reason was jealousy. If you watch the video, The Gospel of John, it's a 3-hour movie, you can kind of see in their faces, and I've always thought that about the Pharisees. That's why they hated him, because they're jealous. They, up until Jesus came, were the voice of God to the people, which was a lot of power. Same position that the Pope or cardinals or bishops in the Catholic Church are in. They enjoy the power that they can have over the masses through religion. That's what the Pharisees had. That's why they didn't like Jesus, because he was taking that power away from them. So that's why they wanted to kill him. Religious abuse. Still goes on today, but the Pharisees were the first to have that problem. Okay, all who see me mock me. They hurl insults, shaking their heads. This happened to Jesus on the cross. He trusts in the Lord, let the Lord rescue him, let him deliver him, since he delights in him. When he was on the cross, people mocked him and said, he saved others, why can't he save himself? Okay. Verse 14 says, I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. But then another prophecy says not one bone in his body was broken. So I'm not sure about that one, but I know he was beaten. Jesus was. I am poured out like water. I'm not sure if that one's referring to when they pierced his side and water came out. My heart is turned to wax, it is melted away within me. So that could be the voice of Jesus speaking through David, because David was a man after God's own heart. So God easily could have been speaking to him or through him. My heart is turned to wax, so this could have been what Jesus felt. I mean, I can imagine. I mean, he was still fully man, so he still felt pain and fear, and I can't even imagine. I mean, I can kind of. So there was this one presentation I did in high school where I tried to get everyone in the minds of a slave coming over on a slave ship. And I said, picture you're in this slave ship and you're sleeping and lying in your own feces all the time, because they didn't let them go to the bathroom somewhere else. Anyways, my challenge to you is picture that you're Jesus and that you're about to be crucified, and you know what's coming. You know exactly what's coming. He sweat drops of blood in the Garden of Gethsemane when he prayed. So picture that you're him. That movie really makes it easier to put yourself in his place. But I can't imagine. After I saw the movie The Passion of the Christ, I actually had a few nightmares that I was going to get crucified. And in one of my dreams, I asked them if they could use rope instead of nails, because that would hurt. And I've thought several times, how excruciating would that be to have nails going through? They put them through his wrists, because if it was in his hands, it would have torn the skin. But man, nails in your wrists. That's a lot of pain. And the whippings and the crown of thorns. I'm pretty sure that was the worst way that anyone could die at the time. And I suppose Jesus picked that because he wanted to prove that he suffered more than any of us have suffered. So any complaining that we ever do, we can't say that it compares with being crucified. We have no room to complain, obviously, in light of that. Then it says, verse 15, my strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You lay me in the dust of death. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth, he who is thirsty. 16 dogs have surrounded me. A band of evil men has encircled me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. None of this stuff ever happened to David, so it's clearly God talking through him about Jesus. This is Jesus' voice. I can count all my bones. People stare and gloat over me. They were looking at him on the cross. They divide my garments among them and cast lots for my clothing. That all happened. But you, O Lord, be not far off. Okay, that's the end. The next psalm is Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, which is interesting. So David was very much in the spirit when he wrote Psalm 22 and Psalm 23. So he was clearly anointed, as he always was, but more so when he wrote those two psalms. Okay, so here's the 44 prophecies that this article lays out. 44 prophecies Jesus Christ fulfilled. Prophecy about Jesus, Messiah would be born of a woman. Genesis 3:15. Yes, this was the curses in the garden. I never thought of this as a prophecy about Jesus. necessarily. Okay. Genesis 3:15 says, "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." Yes. The he that this is referring to is Jesus. He will crush your head. He defeated Satan when he rose from the dead. He defeated the power of death. As Paul says, "Where, O death, is thy sting? Where, O death, is your victory?" Pretty sure that's Paul. And you will strike his heel. Satan tried to tempt Jesus in the wilderness, and I'm sure Satan entered Judas Iscariot to betray Jesus, so there's an example of striking his heel. And Satan, I'm sure, also was very much in the Pharisees and the fact that they wanted Jesus crucified. But it was all to fulfill a prophecy. So let's see, New Testament fulfillment says Matthew 1:20. That's probably just that the virgin will be with child. Let me see. Matthew 1:20. There it is. Let's see. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit." Yes. And then it says Galatians 4:4. Galatians 4:4 says, "But when the time had fully come, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under law." Okay. Makes sense. Okay, Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. That came up in this video, the Gospel of John. Someone cries out in one of the temples, "The Messiah is supposed to come from Bethlehem, and you came from whatever, Nazareth." And I, in the video, me and my husband were watching it, and I was like, why didn't he just say, "Hey, I was born in Bethlehem"? But for whatever reason, he didn't. Okay, Micah 5:2 prophesies that. Micah is a very small book in the Bible, so I have to look it up in the table of contents. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Micah 5:2. There we go. Okay, there it is. Haha. But you, this is Micah 5:2. "But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from ancient times." Okay, here we go. Here's an example of a prophecy of why it confused the Jews. Paul talks about that the law was a stumbling block. I think also the prophecies were a stumbling block to the Pharisees. That's why they didn't see Jesus. They had eyes, but they did not have eyes to see, and that they didn't see him. He said, "I have come that the blind shall see, and those who think they see will become blind," because the Pharisees were confused. So here's one. It says that one who will be ruler over Israel. I talked about this in my other videos, that people were very frustrated with Jesus, that he didn't overthrow the dictatorial Roman government that was oppressing them. They thought that he would come as a ruler. The sons of thunder, James and John, said to him at one point, "Lord, grant that we can sit at your right and at your left when you come into your kingdom," because they thought that he was going to rule. They thought he was going to be like the white knight type of savior, which he will later, just not in his first coming. Who will be ruler over Israel. So in his first coming, he, rather than ruled, he was a servant. And he was humble, and he cured sicknesses and did miracles, but he wasn't a ruler. he mostly hung out in the country and on mountains, and he was more secluded. Okay. Messiah would be born of a virgin is another prophecy that's in Isaiah. Isaiah 7:14. Isaiah is a very big book. I remember when I read Isaiah, and I was like, my goodness, this is such a huge book. Okay, Isaiah 7:14. Here we go. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God with us. So, the virgin will be with child, will give birth to a son. That's obviously talking about Mary. She was a virgin birth. And that was why it was a sign, because, otherwise that would be impossible, obviously. There's this funny part in the movie Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, where they're playing the part of Jesus and Mary in the nativity story. And Vince Vaughn says to Reese Witherspoon, because he's playing Joseph, he's like, do you think I'm okay with this? Because I didn't get my wife pregnant and God's the one that got her pregnant, but it's just funny. You should see that movie. It's really hilarious. One of the best comedies ever made, and it's relatively clean. So let's see. Messiah would come from the line of Abraham. Genesis 12:3. Yeah, this is when God was speaking to Abraham. Genesis 12. One second. This is before he even had Isaac. Crazy. Okay. Genesis 12:3. God says to Abraham, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Okay. It doesn't say directly, but yes, because through his offspring, his line, his genetic line, Jesus would come out of that. Then also Genesis 22:18. Let's see. That verse says, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. Okay, so blessed. Yes. It says it quite clearly. So Messiah would come from the line of Abraham is another prophecy. Messiah would be a descendant of Isaac. Let's see, Genesis 21:12. This one says, but God said to him, do not be so distressed about the boy and your maidservant. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. Reckoned. Made right, I think, is another meaning of that. Reckoned. Made right. Let's see. Messiah's throne would be anointed and eternal. Psalm 45. Okay. Where's that? Psalm 45, 6-7. This one says, your throne, O God, will last forever and ever. A scepter of justice will be the scepter of your kingdom. You love righteousness and hate wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has set you above your companions by anointing you with the oil of joy. Am I reading the right one? Messiah's throne will be anointed and eternal. So that's a prophecy about Jesus. You love righteousness and hate wickedness. Okay. Let's see. That's a good one. I mean, not good, but interesting. A massacre of children would happen at Messiah's birthplace. Remember, the wise men went to King Herod and said, we followed his star. Where's the Messiah so that we may worship him, the king? And then Herod ordered that all of the children be killed, I think 2 years and under. So let's see, that's Jeremiah 31:15. Isaiah, Jeremiah 31:15. This one says, this is what the Lord says, a voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Oh yes, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because her children are no more. So Ramah must mean that region where, around Jerusalem, where Jesus was born, where King Herod had rule over. Okay. A massacre of children happened. Another one is a messenger would prepare the way for the Messiah. That would be John the Baptist. Okay. So John the Baptist is prophesied in Isaiah 40. Isaiah 43 through 5. Okay. Oh, yep, here it is. Exactly. Isaiah 43 through 5. A voice of one calling in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight in the wilderness a highway for our God. Every valley shall be raised up, every mountain and hill made low. Well, that will happen in the second coming. The rough ground shall become level, the rugged places a plain, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all mankind together will see it, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. The glory of the Lord will be very much revealed in Revelations, which I talked about in my other videos. Big time. But yes, that is the first part prophesies John the Baptist. Messiah would be rejected by his own people. Psalm 69. Let's see. Okay, it's Psalm 69:8. I am stronger to my brothers. Oh, sorry. I am a stranger to my brothers, an alien to my own mother's sons. Yeah, that's in that video, the Gospel of John. His brother says, whoever wants to become famous basically doesn't do all these things in secret. Like, you should make yourself known. And then John notes, even his own brothers didn't believe in him. And there's another gospel that records that Mary, his mom, and his brothers came and tried to pull him out of some situation because they were saying he was possessed. And yeah, that's interesting because the Catholic Church totally idolizes Mary and makes it out like she's a saint. But I think that verse is key because it shows that she had doubts herself, so she was very much human. Let's see. Okay, Messiah would be declared the Son of God. That's a good one. I'm picking out my favorite ones. That's Psalm 2:7. There we go. Psalm 2:7 says, I will proclaim the decree. In my Bible, I have an arrow pointing to this, and I wrote Jesus, exclamation point. Yes. Psalm 2:7. I will proclaim the decree of the Lord. He said to me, you are my son. Today I have become your father. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession. You will rule them with an iron scepter. You will dash them to pieces like pottery. Interesting. I will proclaim the decree of the Lord. He said to me, you are my son. Today I have become your father. Okay, so this is specifically referring to Jesus because, okay, Messiah would be declared the Son of God. This is God the Father talking to Jesus. You are my son. Today I've become your father. And Jesus has been the son always, forever. So, yes. Okay. While I was watching the video, I was thinking of my whole theory of, are Jesus the Son and the Father God equal? And there is one point where Jesus says the Father is greater than I, which is interesting. But he also says I and the Father are one. So it's like, are they exactly equal, or is the Father greater? Or did he just say that because when he was on earth, he was fully man also? So then he said the Father is greater than I at that time because he was fully man. But now that he's in heaven, they're equals. I'm not sure exactly, but that's possible. Okay. Okay, this is good. Messiah would be called a Nazarene, which is interesting because in the Gospel of John, someone says, Nazareth, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Clearly, he hadn't read Isaiah. Isaiah 11:1, it looks like, says, a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. Messiah would be called a Nazarene. Stump of Jesse. I wrote Jesus on that with an exclamation point also. But how does that prove that he would be called a Nazarene? I'm not sure exactly. I don't know, but the verse after that is cool. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of power, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decides by what he hears with his ears, but with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. Nice. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. I wrote next to that second coming because that's more what he will do in the second coming. And then, yeah, these verses are very popular. Isaiah 11:6, the wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat. That'll be heaven, the New Jerusalem. The calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. Little child laying down with the leopard. Only in heaven. Only in the movies. No, only in heaven. The cow will feed with the bear. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. Interesting. The infant will play near the hole of the cobra. Yeah, so where there will be no more crying, weeping, or mourning, and God will wipe away every tear from their eye. This is all talking about heaven. Oh, this is interesting. A prophecy that the Messiah would speak in parables. Nice. That's in Psalms. Again, I haven't looked into all these really in detail, ever, in my life. Okay. Psalm 78, 2 through 4. I didn't know this was prophesied. Okay. Psalm 78. Oh, never mind. Apparently I did. I wrote Jesus next to this too. So I guess just when I've read the Bible on my own, I've noticed when things were clearly talking about Jesus. Psalm 78, 2 through 4. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden from of old. What we have heard and known, what our fathers have told us, we will not hide them from their children. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power, and the wonders he has done. So there you go. It says it explicitly, parables. I will open my mouth in parables. Very nice. What else is interesting? Okay, well, I'll go through and say all these even if I don't reference the verses, because that would take a long time. My video is already at 29 minutes. Here's the 44 prophecies that Jesus Christ fulfilled. Prophecies. Messiah would be born of a woman. You can write these down if you want. That's in Genesis 3:15. Messiah would be born in Bethlehem, Micah 5:2. Messiah would be born of a virgin, Isaiah 7:14. Messiah would come from the line of Abraham, Genesis 12:3, Genesis 22:18. Messiah would be a descendant of Isaac, Genesis 17:19, Genesis 21:12. Messiah would be a descendant of Jacob, Numbers 24:17. Messiah would come from the tribe of Judah, Genesis 49:10. Messiah would be heir to King David's throne, 2 Samuel 7:12-13, Isaiah 9-7. Messiah's throne will be anointed and eternal, Psalm 45:6-7, Daniel 2:44. Messiah would be called Emmanuel, Isaiah 7:14. Messiah would spend a season in Egypt. That's what happened after he was born. They fled to Egypt to escape Herod's killings. Hosea 11:1. A massacre of children happened at Messiah's birthplace. I talked about that. Jeremiah 31:15. A messenger would prepare the way for Messiah, John the Baptist. Isaiah 40:3-5. Messiah would be rejected by his own people. Psalm 69:8. Isaiah 53:3. Messiah would be a prophet. Deuteronomy 18:15. Messiah would be preceded by Elijah. Malachi 4:5-6. Messiah would be declared the Son of God. Psalm 2:7. Messiah would be called a Nazarene. Isaiah 11:1. Messiah would bring light to Galilee. Isaiah 9:1-2. Messiah would speak in parables. Psalm 78:2-4. Isaiah 6:9-10. Messiah would be sent to heal the brokenhearted. Isaiah 61:1-12. I think that's a particularly cool verse, but I'm going to keep going down the list. Messiah would be a priest after the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek is interesting. I heard a really cool sermon about that. Psalm 110:4. This one pastor's theory was that Jesus was Melchizedek, but I don't know how accurate that is. Messiah would be called King. Psalm 2:6, Zechariah 9:9. Messiah would be praised by little children. Psalm 8:2. That's cool. Messiah would be betrayed. Judas Iscariot. Psalm 41:9, Zechariah 11:12-13. Messiah's price money would be used to buy a potter's field. Zechariah 11:12-13. Messiah would be falsely accused. Psalm 35:11. Right, because the Pharisees said he should die because he claimed to be God, but he was. Okay. Messiah would be silent before his accusers. I think it says, like a lamb led to slaughter. Isaiah 53:7. Messiah would be spat upon and struck. Isaiah 56. I think most of Isaiah 50 is about Jesus. Messiah would be hated without cause. Yeah, they were just jealous. The Pharisees. Psalm 35:19, Psalm 69:4. Messiah would be crucified with criminals, the two thieves on the cross. Isaiah 53:12. Messiah would be given vinegar to drink. Psalm 69:21. Messiah's hands and feet would be pierced. Psalm 22:16, Zechariah 12:10. Messiah would be mocked and ridiculed. Psalm 22:7-8. Soldiers would gamble for Messiah's garments. Psalm 22:18. Messiah's bones would not be broken. The Gospel of John movie points that out. Exodus 12:46. Psalm 34:20. Messiah would be forsaken by God. Psalm 22:1. Messiah would pray for his enemies. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Psalm 109:4. Soldiers would pierce Messiah's side. Zechariah 12:10. Messiah would be buried with the rich. Oh yes, that one guy, Joseph Arimathea, buried him. Isaiah 53:9. Messiah would resurrect from the dead. Psalm 16:10, Psalm 49:15. Messiah would ascend to heaven. Psalm 24. Most of these are the Psalms. David was on to something. He was a man after God's own heart, after all. So Psalm 16:10, Psalm 49:15. Oh no, sorry. Ascend to heaven. Psalm 24:7-10. Messiah would be seated at God's right hand. Psalm 68:18, Psalm 110:1. Messiah would be a sacrifice for sin. Isaiah 53:5-12. Okay, one I wanted to look into was Messiah would resurrect from the dead. Psalm 16:10. One second. Okay. Psalm 16:10 says, because you will not abandon me to the grave, there we go, nor will you let your Holy One see decay. I wrote next to that in my Bible, Jesus rose from the dead. This was a prophecy. So Jesus' body did not decay. Psalm 49:15 is the other one for that. Let me see. Yes, lots of good prophecies in the Psalms. I should read the Psalms next. And analyze them. Let's see. Psalm 49:15. But God will redeem my life from the grave. He will surely take me to himself. I didn't notice that one explicitly being about Jesus, but there you go. Redeem my life from the grave. That shows that Jesus resurrected. So those are the prophecies about Jesus that were fulfilled. The main ones I was interested in was all of the ones that the Pharisees should have recognized. I suppose mainly they would have known about the virgin birth, but when Jesus was 32 or 33 in his ministry, that was way after the virgin birth, so, but he could have just told them, hey, I was born of a virgin, right? But he wanted those who were really seeking him to be found by him. That's why. And he knew the hearts of the Pharisees and that they were arrogant and prideful and just wanted to control people. So he really didn't want them to see, I guess. That's why he said, speaking in parables, I speak in parables so that seeing they will not see. He just wants, what is it? The Lord resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. So, there you go. Okay. What else would they have known? Born in Bethlehem. For some reason they didn't realize that he was born in Bethlehem, I suppose. Rejected by his own people, I guess that they overlooked that part. But again, they expected him to come in and conquer everything. They thought that the prophecies about his second coming would be his first coming. That's what confused them. So, okay. That's good for the prophecies. I will cover more of John in my next videos. And then eventually Acts. So, anyways, hope this is helping you grow in wisdom, and may God bless you. Take care. Until next time, bye.